4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening. Welcome to the June 23rd Northampton School Committee special meeting. I'm Mayor Gina Louise Shara, the chair of the school committee, and I'll be presiding this evening. This meeting is being held remotely on Zoom pursuant to the modification of the state's open meeting law for the COVID-19 pandemic. This meeting and all participating on Zoom will be audio and video recorded. I will begin by asking the clerk to please call the roll of the school committee.
Mayor Shara,
Present.
Member Robbins. I see you, but I didn't hear you. I heard you coughing. Member Gazy.
Here.
Member Seraphy Cox.
Present.
Member Stein.
I agree to that.
Member Stein, I didn't hear you, but I see
Oh,
your
present.
name. Okay. Member Levy.
Present.
Yeah. Member Miller.
Present.
Member Goldman.
Present.
Member Agna.
Present.
And Member Davis.
Present.
Your Honor, you have a quorum.
Great, thank you. So this is a special meeting, so there's no public comment scheduled, but as always, we welcome comment by email at any time. So the first item, or the only item on the agenda before we move to an executive session, is an update on the interim superintendent search and discussion of the search for a permanent superintendent. Just a quick update on the interim search. The ad hoc interim superintendent screening committee will be meeting tomorrow at 2 p.m. to discuss a rubric for the screening of candidates. And then we are looking to have a meeting next Wednesday to go over applications, and would like to schedule a meeting the following week, hopefully, to meet some candidates with the full committee. So Annie, I don't know if you wanted to try and lock down that date for the week after next now.
I would be happy to do that.
Okay. We were thinking Thursday, but we really could meet earlier in that week, potentially too, if that worked for folks.
We were thinking Thursday the 7th.
Right.
But
anyone on the committee have thoughts about that schedule?
That's what do we have a time? We don't have a time on that date.
For the Thursday, the 7th?
Yeah.
I guess I was thinking 6:30, like a usual time, but open to suggestions.
That works for me.
Okay. So we're going to put on the calendar Thursday, the 7th, full school committee, 6:30 p.m. And the screening committee will have people for us, hopefully, to meet together on that date. Any other discussion on an interim superintendent or anything people would like to add? Member Seraphy Cox.
Thank you. I guess I'm curious, if we are not meeting to interview folks until July 7th, and presumably Superintendent Provost will have his last day on the last day of June. What happens after? What happens on July 1st?
Sure. I mean, I think we will have a few days where we will not have a superintendent, but Annie will and Tracy will be in the central office doing what they do so well, and I will be around, and we have other administrators who are around, so that will be the situation for a little, hopefully just a very brief period of time.
And Susan Wright will be with us as the business administrator, the interim business administrator. And we have, other members of the alt team in the mayor's office. So I think we'll be able to make it through a few days.
Few days. Okay.
Member Robbins.
Can we be informed about what the process is that the committee will be using when you meet and figure that out?
Sure. So, it's a public meeting tomorrow where we're going to discuss the rubric, and then the next part of the process would be going over candidates, but that would be an executive session. And then we'd be bringing the sort of the screened candidates to the full committee on the 7th. Does that answer your question?
Kind of.
Okay.
And I'll add that the posting, the job posting closes on Monday afternoon. So we already have some applicants, and I'll be sharing those in a folder with the subcommittee tomorrow morning. And then at the end of the day on Monday, I'll share the rest if any more come in.
Okay.
But I'll also add that the purpose of our meeting tomorrow is to discuss our process and to nail down what our process will be.
Great. Okay, any further discussion on an interim? Seeing none, we can move on to any discussion on a permanent. Member Levy shared, looks like spoke to some search firms and shared 3 documents from them, sort of outlining their process and their what they charge and sort of what their contract looks like. I think that those were pretty recently put into your folder, so apologies if you hadn't seen them yet. But we have those. And then, Member Agna, am I right in remembering that you were you gonna talk to MASC or someone as well?
Yeah, they shared with me what their process is, and I think it's pretty available online. So I think that if it's something that we want to explore, I don't think that there is any mystery, I guess, about it. And then I think the only concern that I think some members had was that it's a Massachusetts organization and may be limited in its scope. So I don't know that they think that, but I understand that that could be a concern if those are wanting, if we want to have a more national approach to this. So, I think it's pretty straightforward. I looked at online, I spoke with the people who are also facilitating our retreat. And again, if we decide to go with them, I think they have a really good reputation in Massachusetts, probably better than the other one that is known as NESDEC, I believe. So, I thought with tonight's discussion might be that between whether to go with a national company or whether to stick with what has been done in Massachusetts.
Okay. Member Levy, is there anything you want to talk about with the work that you did to get those, to talk to those 3 different firms?
Sure. I will say that there are a few other firms I reached out to, and these are the 3 that got back to me. Some of them were very attentive and quite quick in getting back to me. 2 of them had recently done searches. Sorry for the background noise. 2 of them have recently done searches in our area, one with Amherst Pelham, one with Longmeadow.
Member Levy, you're freezing up.
Sorry.
I know you're sharing really important information with us. We just can't comprehend what it is. Okay, I think Member Levy, you there? And she's gone. Anyone want to share some? Oh, wow. That was remarkable. Hold on, I'll make you no, are you still a co-host? That was like quite a scenery change that just happened. That was very impressive.
I aim to keep you on your toes. Can you hear me okay right now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so I don't know where you lost me. Did you hear me talk about that we should check with Longmeadow and Amherst? Pelham?
No, we didn't hear that.
Okay, so I sent you info on 3 places. They were quite attentive and quick to get back to me. 2 of the 3 have recently done successful searches, one in this area, one in Amherst, Pelham, one at Longmeadow. And so it might behoove us to check in with those school committees to get their input. I have not done that yet. I wanted to sort of get a sense of what this school committee was thinking. And the third I have talked to, and also seems pretty great. I think they're fairly comparable in terms of the services that they provide and the ways that they walk us through the process, with emphasis on inclusion. And you'll see in your materials that Annie shared with you that one of them really centers inclusion and talks a lot about being inclusive with the community, although I think all 3 of them are probably fairly similar. 2 of them really talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion as being central. They talk about it in different ways, but those spoke to me. And while the prices kind of look different when you look at them, I think it's important for us to kind of read the fine print, because some of them, it's like they say, here's the price, but then you pay a little extra for this and you pay a little extra for this. And so I think what we'll need to do is kind of figure out what we want and then what the cost will be. But it does seem like with these firms, the price will probably range from about $15,000 to $25,000. Although interestingly, all 3 of them say they have like a price match guarantee, so they'll match. Yeah. So maybe it's just going to be 15,000. I don't know. I will speak for myself because I'm still speaking and share that I think it's really going to be important for us to do a national search and to work with a firm that has the ability to bring us folks who have amazing experience. But I mean this very kindly to the current superintendents in Massachusetts. I mean, even Dr. Provost said to us that it's sort of the same folks who apply to each position and they just sort of circle through. And I think it'll be important for us to include the folks who are local and folks who are not local in the search. And so I'm excited about these firms over MASC personally, but I think it'll be important for you all. I apologize that you didn't get the information. I did share it a few days back. And so I think it's important for us to take the time to read through these proposals and for people to share what they think, whether they think we should stick with MASC or go with one of these. So I think folks should read what we've gotten and then we can weigh in.
Okay, and perhaps in the meantime, one or more of us could be tasked with calling Amherst, Pelham, and Longmeadow and having a conversation with them about what their search was like. Member Agna?
I volunteered to call one of those, if that makes sense to anybody. I'm happy to do that.
Fabulous, thank you. Member Robbins? Muted.
Muted.
I'm a little familiar with Ray and Associates, and I think it would be a good idea to call some of their recent appointees as well, including Cambridge. And I don't know McPherson.
Okay. Was that one of the ones that just hired here recently? I mean, hired in Western, yes, okay. Okay, so we have them covered, we feel?
Sorry, who's calling them?
So should I just call Amherst? What do people think? I'm happy to call.
I think we need to reach out farther than that. Cambridge just hired a really interesting candidate and a diverse applicant. And I would love to know, they had a good process for their hiring. I thought it would be interesting to talk to their school committee, somebody on their ad hoc group, and just say, so what was your process and how do you feel about the hire?
Is that
Um,
Ray
I
Associates?
would like to know not just how do they feel about the hire, but how did they feel about the firm that was supporting the process? I think that's what we need to focus our questions on when we're talking with folks.
So, okay, member Seraphy Cox.
Thanks. I would be happy to reach out to Longfellow if that feels useful, or Cambridge, whichever. And also, I'm not sure, Member Robbins, if you were talking about that the applicant pool was diverse. Okay, I heard that the hire was diverse, and of course, a single person cannot be diverse. So I just was wanting to clarify what you were meaning. So I mean, I'm absolutely excited about getting a diverse pool of applicants, and also interested certainly in a firm who has experience in this area, because while I mean, I want that caliber of applicant, I also want a firm that understands the particularities of Western Mass.
Great. Okay, do we feel like, so did I hear that you volunteered to talk to Longmeadow?
Sure, unless Aileen wants to do it.
Because I was waiting to hear how this was all playing out, but whenever we had our last meeting, I raised my hand that I would be happy to help sort this out as well. And it was sounding like, geez, did I miss a meeting? Because it looks like a lot of things happened, but I didn't realize if I had been given a task, I didn't know, but I would be happy to call Cambridge or whoever. I'm not sure. I guess I would need that contact information, Meg, or whoever might have that, to find out what firm they used, or. So I would be in touch with Meg, or who else, is that who would have that information?
Well, okay, so let's clarify. So there are 3 firms that Member Levy has, or that gave Member Levy, sort of a synopsis of their process. I'm trying to
Right.
And one, am I right that one was just used for Longmeadow and one was just used for Amherst Pelham?
That's what
Yes,
that's what I heard.
and as soon as I get on my computer, I can tell you which was which.
Okay, so let's make sure one, we want someone to call Amherst Pelham, someone to call Longmeadow, and then I don't know, Member Robbins, are one of those 2 firms the one that Cambridge just used?
They used Ray Associates, I believe.
Okay. Well, Member Levy can tell us which.
And yeah, and I'm pretty sure Ray Associates is not included. They did not do Longmeadow or Amherst Pelham. So that would be a good contact, so that we're talking to one for each.
Great.
But again, sorry, it's booting up.
No worries.
So
I
I could-
noticed that Ray Associates has Longmeadow listed as a search. I was just reading through.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shoot. So maybe then we're missing one.
Okay.
I'll be happy to check into that. I can talk to Member Levy and get, so we don't duplicate efforts, or,
That's great.
okay,
Okay, do we feel like we've got everything covered?
yes.
Terrific. Any other discussion on an interim? Okay. Sorry, not interim, a permanent. Any other discussion on this section of the agenda? Member Gazy?
We read through all these. How do you want us to give feedback to the ad hoc committee, or do we just wait till the meeting
So-
on the 7th.
Excuse me, I think I just confused matters by talking about the interim again. So those proposals are for, to hire a firm for the permanent search. So the ad hoc committee is for an interim. So there will be no doubt a committee for hiring a permanent, but that's not in existence yet. So right now, just as a school committee, we're looking at these different firms and trying to figure out which, if any, we want to hire. So we're sort of giving feedback here to each other.
When will we next discuss which firm to go through? So that, is that also, will there be a section on the meeting on the 7th for the interim?
I think since we have a meeting scheduled for the 7th, we can add that to the agenda.
Mhm.
And people can report back on conversations that they've had. Does that sound good to everybody? I'm seeing nods. Does that work, Member Gazy? Okay, great. So Annie, we will add that to the agenda for the 7th. Thank you. All right. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, we can, I've lost my agenda. I believe the next thing on the agenda is to move into executive session. So does someone want to make a motion?
You want me to make the motion?
Certainly. Do you have it in front of you? Oh, you're muted though.
Request to enter executive session.
You muted again. And the chair so declares. Unmute.
Okay,
Okay,
can you hear me now?
yes.
Okay. Request to enter executive session under Massachusetts General Law, Open Meeting, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation, and to discuss a level 3 grievance, and Section 21A2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect upon the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded, and the chair does declare that it's necessary to enter executive session, and we will be adjourning from that executive session. So we will not be coming back into an open public meeting. We will be adjourning from that executive session. So those of you who are not coming with us in there,
Yes.
Member Stein,
Yes.
Member Levy,
Yes.
Member Miller,
Yes.
Member Goldman,
Yes.
Member Agna,
Yes.
and Member Davis,
Yes.
and Mayor Shara.
okay, we're now going into executive session.
We have, I think,
Just a couple.
one more person with us, although I'm not sure if Heather is joining us.